Hey everyone, Sam here. Now, I've been doing some new stuff and I want to just create a video here showcasing what I've been doing. And it's really my new web application or simple web application workflow. It's very new because a lot of these tools are only maybe less than 3 months old, and some even newer than that. But I just want to show you my workflow, okay? Because I feel like this is one of the biggest transformations that I am seeing easily out there. And what you can achieve now compared to even a year ago is just absolutely incredible. And so it's, really what I want to do is showcase to you how I've done it and how you can do it as well. I think that there's just this massive democratization occurring right now of app development, and I think it's going to change everything. I think the amount of software that you can create is about to go up tenfold. The amount of usage of some of these tools is going to go up an enormous amount over the next few years. Just the ability, the amount of software generally that is going to be created worldwide is going to go absolutely exponential. So, getting in at the ground floor, this is the best time to learn how to build applications and to create automations. There's just so much value you can add to yourself and to wherever you're working. It's truly amazing, truly amazing. So, this is the time. This is the time to really understand how these tools work. Okay, so there's a few things that I tied together, right? There's a few things I am tying together. I'm going to show you exactly how I'm doing it. The first thing I want you to be aware of is these tools that can help you create front end. So what we've got here is this tool that I've found called Lovable. It used to be called GPT Engineer. They recently changed the name of the company, but what it enables you to do, and this disrupts so much. It's amazing actually. Is it enables you to build like front-end applications very, very fast, and it writes all of the code for you. Okay, so you actually can see all of the code. You can create a GitHub repo of your code, and you can build upon it. Okay, so if let's just have a look at one of these I created, right? And it's all with natural language, So what we're working on behind the scenes is I want to create a brand new prompting library tool for Enterprise DNA called Prompt Central. And what I wanted to do first of all was mock up as much as I could before I handed it to my developers, right? So I'm doing a lot of work inside of here just to see obviously what's possible with these tools, but also just speed up the development workflow internally at Enterprise DNA. And so all of this tool, the entire thing was created just by simple prompting here. I did a little bit of additional work to create a backend in what's called Supabase, but I was able to mock all of this up. So the front page, the internal pages here, a lot of the functionality, I was able to mock it up just by natural language inside of here. And this is how I think you should start all app development. This doesn't need to be your end product, but this is such a quick way to mock up all the different components that you need, okay? And so you see here that I've got a whole lot of, I got a navigation. I mean, it's just absolutely mind-blowing how I was able to achieve this myself, right? Like a year ago, would never be able to do this, right? Or it'd take me so long. I'd need to learn how to code. I'd need to learn how to do a whole variety of things like push to GitHub. But the reality is this does it all for you. It does it all for you. It gives you all of the code in a best practice way into what are called components. And then you can connect directly to GitHub to push all of your code automatically, which is just incredible, right? Absolutely incredible. You can also get quick, you can also publish it to their servers, and then you can see a mock-up of the site, right? I've actually gone as far as pushing this all the way to, you see here that the latest updates haven't actually updated. I need to actually push some of these latest updates. There's a reason why I haven't done that, by the way. But anyway, you see here that I've been able to mock things up a little bit further than what my latest iteration was. So Lovable is the first place to start. So it is, you can even leverage off templates they've got. I mean, I've actually mocked up maybe 7 or 8 sites now in the last month, and it's actually enjoyable. It's like creative. It's like feels like I'm like an artist, right? That sort of creativity level, but I'm just using natural language. And one of the other tips that I'll keep repeating is I'm using voice more than ever on all of my development workflows. I'm actually just talking to the computer instead of having to type. So I'm even building with voice, which is really amazing. Okay, so the other thing that you need to get familiar with, right, is GitHub. Okay, GitHub is actually an amazing tool. I've been saying this for months now. I never really used GitHub much historically, but now you'll see how busy I am. I'm just going around learning a whole lot of code through a whole lot of open source projects. I've also been, like, when you use Lovable, it pushes your code base automatically to GitHub, right? And so what it does is it creates a repo. And few like 6 months ago, I didn't even know what a repo was, right? And then now I'm actually really familiar with GitHub, really familiar. I've got a range of things that help me learn like really quickly, but I sort of know all of the ins and outs of how you actually use it now, how you update it, how you create branches, how you collaborate within it. I've been using our own data mentor for that. I've been using just like voice AI, talking to voices to actually understand a little bit more about coding. And I'm becoming really familiar with how this all works. I'm very comfortable inside of here. I'm very comfortable now looking at a code base which is mocked up for me, and then integrating other functionality that I find through open source projects. This is just what real developers have done historically, but now we can do it in a much faster way. So you'll see here that it builds all of this for you. I have used an additional tool to iterate on this, but this gave me an amazing head start. And I'll go into this more developer tool in a second, called Windsurf, which I used. But you'll see here that once you become familiar with all these files, you'll find all of the different aspects of your code, like all of this code, all of these components, right? So that's what an app is a whole, in a best practice form, is a lot of components that you're bringing together to a final application like this, right? And so you see here that things like buttons, etc. Instead of having everything in one code base, you can have them in little components, and then you tie the components together within the main app files, right? So this actually brings a lot of the app together inside of here. Okay, so look, I was learning this over, I've learned this over the last couple of months, but this is what you need to become familiar with. It's not that hard, though. It's not that hard. See, what you can do, and what I have been doing as well in my workflow, is I've been using Data Mentor extensively to understand these, right? There's no way to, within GitHub, to understand like specific pieces of code. You can use ChatGPT, or you can use other AI tools, but this is where Data Mentor really shines, right? So we've got all of these tools where you can get code explained to you very quickly, and you can tie it together into threads. So check this out. So I can come in and get some code explained. And so this is what I've been doing a lot for a whole variety, like whether it's an open source project that I'm working on. So this is calling an AI model, getting details for me about that particular piece of code. So it like really details it all for me. But this is where, so creating a thread is yes, I do want to turn that on. Okay, and so this is how I can create a detailed thread about a particular project, and I can tie it all together. So say I want to learn about, okay, how does this one? I can come in here, and one of the things I've also been doing, by the way, I've actually been going into the O1 models. The O1 models are just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So if you're using 4.0 models, my recommendation these days is to try and use O1 Mini. Works a little bit better in here because it's faster. O1 just takes a lot more time, but O1 Mini is, just the depth of answers that you're getting is superior, I'm finding, in a lot of ways, right? The only difference with O1 Mini in Data Mentor is it doesn't stream just yet, just like what you have in ChatGPT, but that I'm sure will come soon. It's pretty fast though. So this is how I've been learning fast, like by using a tool like this. What we also have is that if you want to dive deeper quickly, you can highlight, and you can then select a tool like this. So this is another way. This is another way that you can learn like very specific things within your thread quickly. So you see here that it just layers into my thread. So this is the best learning in terms of like the code itself. The code itself, this is the best way I have found, hands down, to very quickly understand lots of different components and lots of different aspects of code within GitHub. Okay. And it's just like repetition, and with the repetition, you just get a lot of familiarity. So I've been starting in here. Okay, I've been starting in here. I've been getting very familiar with GitHub, because this is very important, because this is the central place where you place a lot of your code. You don't need to get too hung up on knowing every line of code. You just need to try to get familiar with how it all ties in together, how it's all working. And that's what I've been using Data Mentor for. That's exactly what this tool is perfect for, right? Then once you do that, you find that you can only get so far with these, I would say, front-end development tools. That's how I sort of describe them, right? That is when you've got to start getting a little bit more serious, and you've got to move over to what's called an IDE, okay? And the IDE that I recommend, okay, so there's like Visual Studio Code, there's this one called Cursor, that's very, very popular. There's a number of other like IDEs as well, or development spaces, okay? The one that I'm recommending now, though, is this one called Windsurf. It's very, very new, but I have found it to be hands down the best. Okay, so if you just type in Windsurf into search, or go to codium.com/Windsurf and download it on your machine, I think you got to the actual cost. I mean, I've got a subscription, $10. I mean, it's just absolutely nothing compared to like what you can actually get access to. I just, $24 for 50 seats. I mean, that's just crazy, right? In terms of the productivity, I mean, this is just an absolute no-brainer. I mean, you'll make this back within like 5 minutes in terms of your productivity with this tool. So absolutely highly recommend just getting a subscription straight away, so you get access to the best models and can just prompt away. And what you can do here is, so let's actually, this was another thing that I was working on, but let's actually go and I'm going to connect to my library dashboard. Okay, so is this, hold on. Let me just see. I want to show you. If I want to do this right. Okay, let's see if we can connect directly to GitHub. Okay, maybe what we've got to do is actually download. I'll just show you. So this is just a workflow you got to get used to. It's not that hard. One of the big realizations for me around app development is that it's just a bunch of files. It's just a bunch of files. Like every time you're looking at a website, it's just a bunch of files all coming together on a server, right? That's all it is. So once you get used to that, get familiar with that, okay, and then what I want to do is I want to extract. I'm just going to extract it all into my dedicated. So it's on my desktop here. Yep. Okay, so this is all relatively new workflow, I'm sure, for maybe many of you, but just not that difficult. Okay, so library dashboard and main. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to come in here, and I'm going to open my folder. I'm going to go find that. Okay, and that will bring it in. Okay, so it will bring in, yes. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of this other one while we're working on this one. Okay, the best thing about Windsurfer, there's a few things. Okay, they've got this technology called Cascade. It's like an agentic technology. The reason why it is the best, I find, right, is it seems to be able to have a context in the discussion that is covering your entire application. So a lot of these historic ones, right, they'll look at like 2 or 3 files. But what Cascade seems to do, it seems to be able to pick up many more files. It seems to get a very broad overview of everything within your application. And that is the killer feature with AI, right? Is the context. If it can get context of the entire thing, understand it, and then provide recommendations across your whole app rather than a few files, that's where it can give you the most value. So that's one thing that I find with Cascade here that is superior. The other thing which is superior is it helps with 2 specific things that I found when I was starting out learning was really hard. One is understanding how to manage the console. Okay. And what I mean by console is this thing here, or the command prompt, right? This thing is just confusing as hell for me. Was for me. Even today, it kind of is. But what Cascade does and what Cursor doesn't do is it actually can manipulate this. Okay. It can actually run your application, through Cascade, and you don't have to touch this, which is a huge benefit. Okay. Because this can be very confusing, and a lot of the other tools just tell you, okay, go to your command prompt, go to console, do this, do that, and you can get lost very, very quickly doing that. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why this is so good. The other reason is that you can update GitHub from Cascade. Okay, so you don't actually have to do any of the GitHub commands. You don't need to download GitHub desktop. You don't need to get too involved in that aspect of things. All you need to do is prompt away inside of here and it will do it for you. So that is a huge benefit as well. Absolutely huge benefit. So that's why this is so good. This is why this particular tool is so superior to the others I am finding, right? So what we can do is we can, like, I'll just ask a few questions. Can you help me understand where to run this code? Okay. So you see here that it spends a lot of time understanding like how the whole thing works before it actually gives you any recommendations. It's kind of I would term this as agentic. So you see here, so you suggest the terminal command. So it will, like, this is what you would normally do inside of here, and that's just annoying. It's annoying and complicated. I always thought the first team that took that out of the equation would really like exponentially grow the market here, because that, I think, what holds a lot of people back. So I'll go accept, and so it actually runs it for you inside of here, which is very, very cool. It also can catch a lot of the errors that come up in your terminal, and in that error, and even that was confusing, I found. It also uses the best model from like Claude 3.5. So you see here, run dev. Okay, so let's just see if this actually, so if I go to a website here, not sure this will work. Yeah. So it's not perfect, but what I find is that I can find a way pretty quickly just by natural language prompting, which historically has not been that hard. Okay, here we go. It's just at a different, see here? It's just at a different local host. I mean, honestly, I couldn't even, explaining how this stuff even works is hard even now, but for me, I still couldn't, like, I still don't know everything about how all this works. But what I found, this is my big recommendation, is that this seems to just really walk you through it better than anything I've found. Not only does it understand the context of your apps, but it also understands the context of like your computer and how it actually run your computer, which makes all the difference. Really makes all the difference. So I think I've got a later version of this which I need to update. The other thing I've been doing, just to round things off. Okay, so that is that is my workflow. This is the new. This to me is just mind blowing. Like opens up mind blowing possibilities. This isn't even. There is other tools that you can combine together to create a similar workflow, but this is, I think, the best one that I have found so far. It's very, very new. Some of these tools, but in terms of what I've been able to achieve personally, I'm blown away. I'm absolutely blown away. You know, like the ability to do things in a inverted commas no code way is incredible now. Absolutely incredible. You know, I really don't see the benefit of historic no code tools anymore, because this is no code, right? Like this is totally no code through prompting. And also, like what I've started doing as well is for more heavy coding, I've been spending time in here and just using natural language to write out the code for me. And I'm talking like thousands of rows of code. And then if I wanted to do more UI updates, like user experience updates, I've actually pushed my latest code updates to GitHub. I then have come back to this tool because this is better for like user experience. So you see here that I've improved the colors, I've improved the font design, whole range of things. And then I can then push my user experience changes to GitHub. And then if I want to do more back-end stuff again, I can then jump into my coding application here. So I'm finding new ways of working all the time with these tools, but it certainly just continues to amaze me what I can achieve myself. And there's no doubt that you can achieve this as well. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind. So yeah, hopefully that inspires you around what you can achieve, and look forward to seeing and hearing what you can achieve as well. I think that this new workflow is going to open up so much. Like there's so much more you can build, so much more you can do. Just think within a business, like think about how many new products you can create, how many new automations you could create, how many like very tailored pieces of software you could create for your particular processes, for your particular environments. It is amazing. It is amazing. And that is what we're looking to empower as many ways as we can at Enterprise DNA. And I think there's going to be a lot more around this particular workflow. A lot more content, a lot more ideas, a lot more things that we can showcase and help you achieve, based on a lot of these next generation tools coming out. Okay, I'm going to round off. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you soon.